TFA fam, what is up? What is happening? It is Wednesday night. It is week 5. We already got Jonathan Taylor's out this week. Javonte Williams is out for the year. Pour one out for the homie.
Pour one out.
Sad to see that. But we are here to answer your sit questions. We will answer every single one of them. We do this every single week. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate everybody rocking with us. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Walito. JT out on Thursday. If DeAndre Swift also doesn't go, which he's not going to go, Walito, you can already cancel him out. I need 2 of those 4. Jamal Williams, Naheem Hines, Deontay Johnson, Jeff Wilson, full PPR. May or may not be the listener league. Well, neither one of us are in the listener league, so it doesn't matter.
Impartial advice here.
So 100%, I think Jamal Williams.
Yeah, lock it in Jamal. I would love to say locking in Naheem Hines. It's not a fantastic matchup for him going up against Broncos run D, who's been pretty good on the year. I think in half PPR scoring, they're like bottom 8. I think in terms of fantasy points allowed, it wouldn't be a huge swing to full PPR. Seems like we're getting Kenny Pickett this week. Not entirely sure if that's better or not, but not a great spot for Kenny Pickett to be making his rookie debut on the road against Buffalo. Man, I think I'm gonna go Wilson and Williams.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I would go with is Jeff Wilson and Jamal Williams here with that. Naheem Hines, I think he could be okay. Like, he's going to get the pass catching work for sure. I think you're going to see a little bit of a committee. I think they elevate Phillip Lindsay to the active roster, and so I think he gets a little run. I think they also have Deion Jackson, I think, is the other running back they have. Yeah. I think you can see them. I think this will just be a full-on committee approach. And so I think a lot of this will be game script dependent. Like if they fall down behind early, because I think Shaq Leonard is also out in this game. So they will be without him as well. And so I think from there, I think you could look at it as if they would fall behind early, I think Naheem Hines could be a little bit more interesting. But I would prefer to go Jeff Wilson and Jamal Williams.
It looks like Tom is taking our spot, Kev. I guess there has to be. Just has to be at least one terrible TFA team in the listener league.
Yeah. 808. Who do I play at the flex? Curtis Samuel, Chris Godwin, Michael Thomas, Jeff Wilson, Garrett Wilson, or Melvin Gordon. I'm going to go Chris Godwin here as long as he plays. I guess he showed up back on the injury report today, but it's Wednesday. I'm not all that concerned with that. So as long as Chris Godwin plays, which I expect him to, I would go Chris Godwin. I think he's in a great spot. I talked about him on the wide receiver show that I did last night or that came out today, and he's in a terrific spot. Atlanta's terrible against the passing game, the wide receivers. They allow a lot of fantasy points to the wide receivers, and so Chris Godwin's a lock. He saw 10 targets last week. It was more than I thought he was going to see, and this is just a really good bounce back spot for this Bucs defense or this Bucs offense. So I would go Chris Godwin.
Who do you like if Godwin, for whatever reason, doesn't go?
I would go Jeff Wilson.
Samesies. TFA fam, 2-parter. Start Hunt or Breece Hall as RB2. So let's start there. Who do you like there?
Breece Hall.
And then whoever you didn't pick, part 1, Godwin or Michael Thomas in the flex. I think Thomas missed today.
Yeah, I would go Chris Godwin.
It's Wednesday. Yeah. It'd be Godwin over Hunt for me as well. Crab Gravy. Full PPR, pick 2 for the flex. Dylan, Dobbs, Penny, and Elijah Moore.
Dobbs for sure for me. I have a wide receiver 2 this week, top 20 wide receiver actually this week. And then I would And then from there, I would go with AJ Dillon.
It would be Dillon and Penny for me if Penny goes. He missed practice today, but again, it's Wednesday. Don't overreact to the Wednesday practice reports. Definitely want to keep an eye on it though. But if he doesn't go, then it would be Dobbs for me. Appreciate the kind comment there, Crab Gravy. Another one here from 808 in my other league. Do I play Connor, Olave, Judy, Hall, or Algier?
Man, these are some great options to have here. Like this, to have to decide between all of these players.
Yeah.
I would go James Conner, though. It'd be really close between him and Chris Olave. I really like Chris Olave, too, in this matchup against Seattle.
Man. I think don't love the matchup for Connor going up against Philly. If this is a full PPR, I would go Olave.
And I don't mind that. Like I said, great matchup. He's been very good, especially the last 2 weeks.
Brees Hall is the other guy I was kind of thinking about here. I think I'm going to go Olave. It's good to see that he was still getting it done with the Red Rocket at the helm. Truth Teller got Pierce, Connor, Herbert, Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon, Kirk, Deontay, Pitts. So we need to start 2 at running back and 1 at flex. So running back, Pierce, Connor, Bear, Jones, Gordon.
I'm going to go Pierce and Aaron Jones.
Yep.
In the flex, I'm going to go with Christian Kirk.
Love seeing it. You love to see it. Who the Bears have? Vikings.
Which is a really good matchup. Like I like Khalil Herbert this week because I don't think David Montgomery's going to be back. It wouldn't shock me if David Montgomery's out for a few weeks. I think there's been some speculation that maybe he has a high ankle sprain, and so
I think if Monty does sit, I'm going to roll with the 3 running backs.
I just can't sit Christian Kirk against the Houston Texans.
Yeah. I just would not that Christian Kirk isn't seeing volume, but we know that Justin Fields is going to drop back 6 times in that game. So Herbert kind of looks locked in for another 20 plus touches.
Well, I think the good thing about Khalil Herbert is that he's kind of game script proof because they have just dedicated themselves to the run no matter what. They could be down by 20 and they're still going to run the ball. And so like you don't have to worry about him not getting opportunities, like them falling behind and them going to the pass, because they have just completely said, no, we're not throwing the ball. We don't care. We're just going to run the ball no matter what.
Yeah. Vincent and win 10-man standard. Who to start at running back, and we need 2 out of Eckler, J-Rob, Jacobs, Monty, and Dobbins. Again, sounds like Monty probably not going. Honestly, there's no reason to rush him back either, right? So kind of locking him out. Josh Jacobs made me look like an idiot last week. I took the under on his rushing prop, and he just absolutely crushed. Eckler finally had a bounce-back game. In a standard, I'm going to go the first 2 options you have here, Vincent. I think I'm going to go Eckler and J-Rob.
I agree. I would go with both those. I have both those as top 10 running backs this week. So
Let's go. Truth teller, other week, should I start Russ or Goff this week?
I'm gonna go with Russ, though. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Russ.
Russ for me too. And then also have Jamal and Dalvin as my RBs. St. Brown at flex. Or should I put it in Brees Hall or Jeff Wilson?
Hate to be the truth teller here, but I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to play this week either. I think with their bye next week, it really doesn't make any sense for them to rush any of these guys back. So I think you could. I don't think DeAndre Swift's going to play. I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to play. I think they get through this week. They're playing the Patriots. This should be a game they could win without them. And so I think you see both of them sit. They go on bye, and then they get their entire offense back week 7. And also, that's what I expect Jameson Williams to also return. So I don't believe Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play. He possibly could, but I just don't think he's going to play. And so then I would put in I'd put in Brees Hall.
Yeah, Brees Hall for me as well. ET, what are your feelings about Kyle Pitts? Keep holding on for that breakout, or time to abandon ship.
Problem is you can't do anything with him. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people talk about like dropping him. Like you don't drop Kyle Pitts, okay? And the upside is there. It's just they have been another team that is truly committed to the run, and on some level, you can't blame them because they're opposite. They're actually. I was shocked when because I wanted to wait to kind of start looking at DVO or not DVOA, but adjusted line yard numbers, and so I was looking at that yesterday, and I was shocked to see that Atlanta is actually third in adjusted line yards so far through the first 4 weeks of the season. They're also second and second level rank and sixth in open field. So their offensive line has actually done really well so far to start the year. And so they have just really committed to the run. And so it's kind of limited the passing options. And not to mention, Marcus Mariota isn't a great passer of the football, anyways. And so it's kind of limited his upside. And so but I do think you can't drop Kyle Pitts because, like, who you dropping him for? One, like, what are you doing with him? Because who you picking up? Like, you picking up Robert Tanyan or any of these other guys? Like, none of the elite tight ends are available, I would assume. And so if they're not, like, you're not dropping them for like a better option. You're dropping them for another really volatile, tight end. Because I'm sure like David Njoku's probably already been picked up, so he's gone. So like realistically, there's probably not a better option out there. So you just have to ride. You just have to ride Kyle Pitts. He'll have some big weeks. He had a decent game a couple weeks ago, and there'll be games where that's going to happen. And I would assume that if this team starts losing more games, that you're probably going to see Desmond Ridder, and I think he's actually probably a better option as a passer than what Marcus Mariota is. And so, it is what it is at this point. I think you just have to hold and keep riding them.
Yeah. ET, unfortunately, that is exactly what I would be. What my advice would be as well. You just gotta suck it up and bear it. Marcus Witherspoon over on Facebook. Should Waddle be trusted? Obviously, I think he takes a dip with Teddy, but Teddy didn't look bad. I didn't think, especially kind of just being thrown into the mix like that. Now, obviously, he looked like Teddy only had eyes for Tyreek once he entered that game. But I mean, let us know what your other options are. But I'm in the league that I have him. I'm firing him up and not really thinking twice about it.
No, and I mean he's been fine. I mean last week obviously it wasn't great, but Teddy Bridgewater is a good enough quarterback to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not Tua or he's not any sort of elite quarterback, but he's good enough. He's going to do a lot of short intermediate stuff. He's not somebody that's going to take a lot of risk. He's a game manager, and it's kind of what he is. But I think Jalen Waddle will be fine.
Yeah. Lucius Stevenson or Pittman, half PPR at the flex.
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman could see 20 targets on Thursday night, especially without Jonathan Taylor.
And the thing with Stevenson is he's still playing 50% of the snaps. Obviously,
Yeah, it is a great spot. Like, I love this spot for him against the Lions. You couldn't ask for a better spot. I think they're going to see a lot of work, but I'm not sitting Michael Pittman.
Yeah, 2 good games back-to-back weeks, but just so hard. I mean, you're talking about a New England running back. You know what I mean? And then now he's also in like basically like a 60-40, 50-50 kind of split. Anthony Ort, AO, rocking with us. Pierce or Godwin, full PPR.
I'm going to go Dameon Pierce.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, but you have to love what he's doing. I mean, he's last week we saw him get 6 targets. He's running a lot of routes now. I mean, he's kind of become the workhorse back in this backfield now. And so last week he played almost 70% of the snaps, 14 carries. He ran 22 routes, the most he's seen all year, 6 targets. And then, so I mean, he did have 139 yards and 75 that came on one run. But, the last 2 weeks he's been a top 10 running back. And so, this isn't I think the Jaguars are an exploitable defense too. And so, because if you look at a lot of their numbers, they in terms of fantasy points allowed, they look better than what they are. But a lot of it, you look at it, they haven't had a whole lot of attempts against them because they've been in a lot of positive game scripts, and so teams aren't just running the football against them. Teams are having to pass the ball to kind of keep up, and so I think that's kind of favored and made some of these numbers a little skewed for this. So I'm not afraid of the Jacksonville defense in terms of their run defense. So I think Dameon Pierce, especially if he's going to be seeing 4, 5, 6 targets a week, then I'm all about that. So yeah, it would be Dameon Pierce for sure.
Good argument.
I guess AO2, I would ask, like, who are you starting at wide receiver that you can't start Chris Godwin?
Yeah. Good call. And then Boyd or Mostert in PPR. I'm going to go Mostert, actually. I know Edmonds has been the one who's been finding the end zone, but if you look at Mostert's snap share over the past several weeks, 42% week 1, 55, 56, and then 72% last week. 15 carries. Actually saw 3 targets as well. It just sucks that 5'9", 205-pound Chase Edmonds is their quote unquote goal line back. So like him there. Boyd, I feel like has kind of been bailed out the past couple of weeks by some big plays and some touchdowns.
Yeah, it is tough though because Baltimore's secondary has been god awful so far to start this year, and so, but I would lean towards. I think Mostert makes more sense.
Fam first is 1 and 3. The RBs are Taylor, Connor, Gibson, Algier, Walker. Wide receivers are McLaurin, Hollywood, Kirk, Olave, Bateman. Should I trade McLaurin for Hines, Gordon, and Thielen in a full PPR?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I think McLaurin's fine, but you're getting Naheem Hines, which obviously I don't even know if it would depend on if the trade would even go through by then for it to matter. Because some leagues, it depends on how long of a wait time you would have to have for it to matter. But even still, getting Melvin Gordon, who's now probably the de facto starting running back. I know a lot of people want it to be Mike Boone, but it's probably still going to be Melvin Gordon who's going to get their first shot at being the kind of workhorse there. And then, with also getting Thielen, yeah, I think you make that trade.
I don't mind it. I would probably want to get someone different than Hines, though, if you can. I don't think it's going to be like a long-term thing for JT, and then Hines is just going to be burning up a roster spot for you because you're never going to start JT and Hines. You're never going to start Hines over JT. So if you can maybe get a different piece, I wouldn't overreact and be looking to get Hines as part of this. Maybe try and get a different piece.
Right, and I think if I was going to trade for a running back, like if I was going to trade a running back, I would trade Antonio Gibson before I traded anybody else. If I was going to, because I get it because like without Taylor, like without him this week, like things aren't looking great. Because Kenneth Walker isn't a thing really. With Rashad Penny
unless Penny
healthy,
sits.
yeah, and then you have Tyler Algier, who I like, but he's still not somebody you're gonna be able to trust full time. And then I like Connor at least for this week, but moving forward, I think Antonio Gibson, especially with Brian Robinson now returning to practice, his upside is going to be very capped.
Yeah. Maybe throw Gibson in that and see if you can get something else back in return. Michael Brown, hey guys, team is Kamara, Jones, Pearson, Sanders. Wide receivers are Jefferson, AJ Brown, and Monroe and Hollywood. I have 2 trade offers, Jones and Hollywood for JT, and then Amonra and Sanders for Eckler.
I would do the first one without even thinking twice about it.
I would do the first one. I would not do the second one. And I'm the biggest Eckler guy you're probably going to find. But Amon-Ra has been playing great. Sanders has been at least an RB2, and then we saw what his upside is, week 1 and then last week as well. Mr. Wong, choose one flex full PPR, J-Rob, Jamal Williams, or Herbert.
I'll go Jamal Williams. But it's really
Jamal
close.
For me as well. Devontae Parker, if Jacoby is out, or Brandon Ayuk in a half PPR for Lucius.
I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk for me as well. Last Fish holding it down for us over there on Twitch. Browns hurt me last week. I'm down to my last 3 entries in Survivor League. All right, pressure's on. San Fran, Jacksonville, Green Bay.
I think you go San Francisco. Like, I think Jacksonville against Houston, but I don't know. Especially divisional games, like they could go either way. Jacksonville has looked way better than what but still, like they're not like some team I would want to bet the house on. And Green Bay would make a lot of sense against the Giants, but I don't know. The Giants seem to be, So I think San Francisco makes the most sense against Carolina.
Think if you gotta win this week, obviously, Survivor. I think I'm gonna go. Man, I don't want to get cute. I would go Green Bay. Not that obviously San Fran is in a bad spot here going up against Carolina. That line has shifted 4 points in favor of San Fran. I mean, -2.5 was just way too low. So that rightly got pounded in favor of San Fran. But they were just gonna, take the safe route here. The Giants are kind of in a mess.
Really,
Right
all
now.
3 of them are, because if you look at because like the Jaguars are actually opened at a 3.5, and that's been bet up to 7. So now the Jaguars are -7, and then Green Bay opened at -6.5, and now it's up to -8.
Yeah. To get me through this week, though, I would go Green Bay. I think I would rank them Green Bay, San Fran, and Jacksonville. Josh Olson with a trade question. Should I trade Eckler, London, Deontay, Conklin for Henry, Higgins, and Godwin? Are we trading for Henry here, Kev?
I think I would. It's not even that. It's also getting Higgins and Godwin, because I feel like,
oh, for sure.
You look at, Conklin is whatever. You can throw him out. I don't care about him. So it comes down to the 3, and Higgins is an upgrade over London, and then Godwin is definitely an upgrade over. You could make an argument over both of them as well. So yeah.
Lucius, appreciate you rocking with us for for a while. For a while. Lucia's been holding it down here for us on the YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel, you haven't been around yet, or if you have been around, just haven't hit that sub button yet, help us out. Throw us a little bone here. Give us a favor. Do us a favor. Hit us with a sub and a like.
Yeah. Lucius' other question was Kyle Pitts or Tyler Conklin?
I mean, God, if you would have told me that this would actually be a legitimate question.
And the thing is that he's not even running that many routes. I mean, week 1 he ran 19, and then he ran 25 week 2, and then he ran 16 and 13. Like, how is Kyle Pitts, when you only have him and Drake London, like, how is he only running 13 routes in a game against Cleveland? Like, it just doesn't add up. Like, it's really bad coaching. It's very much similar to what we see with like Kyle Pitts, with George Kittle. Like, George Kittle should see so many more targets than he does, but he doesn't because they have him stay in the block. But Kyle Pitts should not be only running 13 routes a game. He should be out there, 100% of the time, and he's not. So it is super frustrating because if he's only going to run 13 routes, I mean, that really limits whatever upside that he has.
It just sucks too because Pitts is in a nice spot. Tampa Bay has struggled with tight ends for what feels like the past 3 years. Right? God.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's funny because if you're trying to break ties, so Tampa Bay actually allows the 4th most fantasy points to tight ends, but Miami allows the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends. So
if
both
we
of
get
them are in good spots.
if we get full practices for Kyle Pitts between now and the end of the week, I'm gonna go Kyle Pitts, but man, it's a legitimate question.
I will say that with Zach Wilson returning last week against Pittsburgh, we did see Tyler Conklin's his routes dropped from where he was pretty much routinely in the upper 30s down to 23, and then he did see only 5 targets last week, 3 for 52. And I feel like with Teddy Bridgewater, I think that actually helps them to be able to keep this game a little bit closer. And so where maybe you don't see them throw the ball as much because Zach Wilson is, I don't know. I think I would go Kyle Pitts.
Closer than what it should be. Thomas over on Facebook, Ramondre or Najee?
I would probably go Najee, honestly. I think I have Najee Harris at RB 24 or something like that, 23.
Man.
Yeah, RB 22. And then I have Ramondre Stevenson at RB 26. I would go Najee.
Yeah. Man. I like the spot for Ramondre, though.
I think it's a good thing to talk about though, because a lot of things that you hear, a lot of the cliche response that you hear from a lot of people that fantasy creators or whatever you want to call them will say is you should always start your studs. And I think this year is a good example of why that's not always the case. Because like I said, even Dalvin Cook hasn't been very good this year. And him Zeke, Najee Harris. Like I think a lot of these guys are definitely you can definitely sit them. Like they're definitely no more of like especially Najee and for sure. And then Ezekiel Elliott is also in that same boat of if you have a better option. Like the only thing if like Damian Harris was out, this wouldn't even be a conversation. It'd be you start Ramondre Stevenson over Najee Harris all day. But the frustrating thing with them is that they're going to split a lot of touches. And so with this one, it's just a little bit harder to go with Ramondre Stevenson. Though I think honestly, Ramondre Stevenson has a higher ceiling than what Najee Harris
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, if you go up against a couple players on Thursday and you're down or projected to lose or something and you need to swing, I think Ramondre is
The
actually
only
the upside
positive I could
play.
say about Najee is that possibly with having a rookie quarterback that you see a lot of checkdowns and just getting the ball out of his hands really quickly, kind of like what we saw with Big Ben. And so maybe he sees a ton of checkdowns and stuff like that and racks up. So with PPR, I think that could be the where he comes through.
Ken MacArthur, half PPR, Jacoby, Zay, Gallup, or Pitts.
If Jacoby Myers plays, I'm going to go Jacoby Myers. If he does not, I would go Michael Gallup.
Have you seen anything on Zay Jones?
No, not yet. But like I said, it's only Wednesday. It's too early.
I mean, even if he got in like a limited practice, that would make me feel better. If Zay plays, I would go Zay Jones. But if not, I'll go Jacoby. Got that one. Xavier traded Fournette and Zeke for JT and Damian Harris. 12-team PPR. Is that a dub or an L?
Big W. I'm out. If it was me, I'd be out there trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Especially because he hasn't. It's not like JT has really been JT this year either. So
No, but if you remember last year, he kind of started off really slow too. Like he started off, I think he was like RB 20, 21, 22 through 4 games last year to start the season. So it's very similar to how he started last year.
Should I trade Goddard and Renfro for Pitts? I already have AJ Brown and Devonta. Just trying to diversify here.
No, I don't think I would. I think I would save. I think I would keep Goddard. Like if I was going to trade one of the other ones, I would try to trade Devonta Smith.
Yeah. Is it time to start Zach Ertz over Kyle Pitts?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. If you have the option, I think because they're playing Philadelphia this week. That game projects to be a little bit of high scoring affair between those two teams, and so yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
Actually, I know I would. I have Kyle Pitts ranked. I have him at tight end 12.
Should I trade Henry and Pittman for CMC and Drake?
If it's a PPR league, yes. Though I hate
Pittman or
giving on Michael
Lazard.
Pittman.
This is going to be Michael Pittman. The Olave League is half PPR. Oh, yeah. So that was Connor, Olave, Judy, Brees, and Algier. Yeah, I'll stick with Olave there. Drop Cam Akers or Michael Carter for Mostert.
I mean, if you want to drop Michael Carter for him, I think you can.
Yeah. I would do that as well. Aquaman. Lunch Javante, my RBs are CH, Miles Sanders, Eno Bringerburn, Mostert, Brian Robinson. Let's see, where did that go? Oh. I mean, sucks you lost Javonte, but maybe you could sell high on somebody like Clyde. See if you can get, get something back for him. Try and level up there, or maybe you have to add a piece. But I think Clyde could be a nice sell high for you. Maybe try and look at doing something that way.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at his game logs, I mean, even though
They're
he
not.
is like, I mean, it's because he's only playing 45% of the snaps right now, and so, but his 18.9 fantasy points per game, he has 12.5 expected fantasy points per game, so he's playing much well ahead of what it's mainly because of his 9.3% touchdown rate that he has, 5 touchdowns that he scored. He scored so far, so if it was me, like, he would be the guy that I would try to sell.
Yeah. Anton, pick two, one for RB and one for flex. Dobbins, Pierce, Godwin, London, and Dobbs. That is going to be Pierce and Godwin for both of us. Or wait. Do you have Dobbs ahead of Godwin?
No, I have Chris
Okay.
Godwin at 16.
Okay. Do we think Detroit wins without the guys that are projected to be without?
Yeah, I think they definitely can. I mean, the Patriots offense is just dreadful. So, and I mean, it's either, I mean, I don't know if Mac Jones is going to be able to return this week. And so if he doesn't, you're looking at either Brian Hoyer or Bailey Zappi again. And so, yeah, they could definitely win. I mean, they damn near beat the Seahawks. What was it, 48-45?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have that game to win any money last week. So on DraftKings or in DFS. So, but yeah, they damn sure can win that game.
Travis rocking with us again. Rodgers or Carr?
I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to go with Derek Carr, just in a higher projected game total. Hopefully, in what should be a shootout. And then Godwin or Hollywood standard. In a standard, I'm going to go Godwin.
Standard or PPR, I'm going Godwin. Yeah.
Who should I start at RB here for the anime junkie, who's also rocking with us on Discord? We will drop the link for the Discord if you guys want to join in. If you guys want to jump in and join the Discord, absolutely free. I try to answer questions over there as well as often as we can get to them. Currently have Mostert and Herbert starting, bench Najee because last week also have Rashad White and ETN on the bench. I think Rashad White is a good stash, but I'm not going to overreact to what he did last week. I think that was very much game script dependent on him getting the extra touches that he was seeing, and with Tampa Bay just completely, literally abandoning the run. They had 6 total attempts, I think, on the ground against KC.
Yeah, and I'm not playing. I am not playing Mostert over either Najee or ETN. Like, we have to remember that Raheem Mostert hasn't scored more than 10.9 fantasy points in a game yet. Like, it's been 4.2, 10.9, 1.1, or 10.1. Like, I get it that Najee Harris hasn't been what anybody expected or was hoping that he would be. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but
Yeah, it would be Najee and Herbert.
he still has scored, more than that. He's outscored him every single week, but probably one. And so I'm not sitting Najee Harris. And like I said, like, I actually think Kenny Pickett could end up being a good thing for Najee Harris, at least in the short term. And so they're going to be behind. They're going to be trailing. They're going to have to throw the ball. I think you see Najee Harris get some targets here in this game. So, yeah, I'm not sitting him.
ETN or Herbert. It's going to be Herbert for both of us. Emilio, Brees Hall, Cooks, Monty if he plays, Keenan Allen if he plays, or DJ Moore at flex.
It's going to be Keenan Allen for me.
And if he doesn't go?
I'm going going to go Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. Brees Hall. I would go Cooks if Keenan doesn't play. Then I'd have Brees Hall.
I think there's a pretty decent chance that he plays, that Keenan Allen plays. Like, he was really pushing to play last week. They held him out. I think there's a pretty good shot that he returns this week.
661 Beasy. We need 2 RBs here for him for week 5. Jamal, Dobbins, Gibson, Singletary, Akers, Brian Robinson, Brees Hall is up for grabs. Who should be traded for him? So for the start set, it's going to be Jamal and Singletary for me.
I'm going to go Jamal and Dobbins, but it is really close. I really do like Singletary a lot. He played like 87% of the snaps last week. And it was crazy to see that he's actually 5th in targets among all running backs, and he's actually 1st in routes run. So he's running a ton of routes. And so, but I still think I would just slightly lean towards Dobbins.
Who would you be looking to trade for Brees Hall out of this group?
I would offer Antonio Gibson. I would offer Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, or Antonio Gibson. And yeah, something like that.
Maybe
I think like anybody
on...
pass, because like I feel like, do you think like Gibson and Singletary like that'd be too much? Because I think it would be. It's close on that one, but
yeah, just because I prefer Singletary in a much better offense.
Yeah,
over Brees Hall, especially if he's going to continue to get the snaps and run the routes through the rest of the year. That's tough because you kind of have like either have like the top tier guys or like the bottom tier. Yeah, like you don't have like a lot in the middle here to try and make that. I mean, if you could package together Gibson and Brian Robinson to go, go get Brees, I would do that. If you can kind of pull one over. If Jamal has another big game, Jamal
he would be
Gibson,
somebody that I actually think that is a really good sell high, because once DeAndre Swift comes back and he's healthy, he's going to come back down to earth.
Denver or the Jags D?
I'm going to go with the Jags.
I'm going to go Denver. And I think with JT being out, their secondary can still hold it down. I'm gonna go Denver there, but I don't hate Houston at all. I mean, I don't hate Jacksonville at all. Noel, start 2 to full PPR. We got Pittman, Kirk, and Pierce. Who we sitting out of this group?
Woo! I guess I'm gonna sit with Christian Kirk. I'm gonna go Pittman and Pierce.
Yeah. Gibson or Drake at the flex. It's going to be Drake London for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Cup. Wide receiver 1, Samuel Davis Thielen, need 2.
Curtis Samuel and Corey Davis.
I'll go Samuel and Thielen. Yak Benji's over on Twitch. Start 1 RB in a full PPR. Wilson, Edmonds, AJ Dillon.
It's Jeff Wilson for me.
Back to anime. Wide receiver 1 is AJ Brown. Wide receiver 2, Pickens. How do we get there? Anime. Who do I throw into the flex currently? Najee, Rashad, Etienne, Julio, Dobbs, Dortch, and Juju on the bench.
Yeah, we're sitting George Pickens, and I'm gonna start Romeo Dobbs.
And then flexing Najee?
Yes.
Vision, I have Hollywood Brown and Monroe St. Brown, Brees Hall in the wide receiver role starting. Bench, Dobbs, Michael Thomas, all but Romeo are questionable. What do I do? I think Hollywood will be fine. He was questionable last week as well. Picked up the late injury designation on Friday. Ended up seeing 11 targets. I think he's going to be fine. We don't think Monroe plays. Brees Hall should be fine as well. So we really don't need to fill that other spot.
And I'm going to go Romeo Dobbs.
I would go Thomas if he plays, but I think he picked up a DNP today. Again, not overreacting on Wednesdays, but if he sits, you can throw him in there. I mean, if you're getting Chase, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not doing that in reverse, Jesse. Now, are we worried about Fournette at all? Hasn't looked particularly good this year. He's been pretty inefficient on the ground. Rashad White will only get more involved. Like I think it has a lot more to do with how that game went for them last week. I mean, Fournette has been fine as a pass catcher, but because of all the injuries they've had, they've just gone completely on the opposite side and have just been really run heavy through the first couple of weeks. But I think Fournette has looked fine. I'm not worried about him. But some potential trades, Noel. TN. TN. Noel, we're coming back to you. But my lord, just every week. TN, you're competing against yourself.
And we appreciate it every single
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yes. 100%. You are the man. You've always been the man.
Boggles my mind.
TN, we need to get you on a show one day. TN.
Yeah.
Because maybe we need to bring back maybe in November we'll bring back the what we used to call it, the
I can't remember, something
free
Friday.
fall Friday or something like that.
Yeah.
We need to get you on a show, TN. We just need to talk. The original OG. Anyways, really appreciate you guys staying late to answer everyone's questions last week. And we'll be staying late again this week. We appreciate you. Half point PPR, flex, Brees Hall, Deontay Johnson, Kittle, or Devonta Smith. I'm going to go with Brees Hall.
Going Brees there as well.
It's just tough. I would love to say Deontay Johnson, but I just don't know what to expect from Kenny Pickett. Now, I do think it's a decent matchup in terms of because they're going to have to throw the ball in this game. They're not going to be able to run the ball against Buffalo. And Buffalo, we know their secondary is really rough. So I think Deontay Johnson could be fine. I'm not going to overreact because of the very limited sample size that he got to play. And then from there, you have Kittle, who you can never trust him. He's going to have a 30-point game. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
could be this
week.
They
just don't utilize him the way they should, and it is super frustrating. And then Devonta Smith, I think, is actually a pretty sneaky play. To me, it would come down to probably Deontay Johnson and Brees Hall. But I think I go Brees Hall just because of his involvement, how much opportunity he saw last week. And I think he's just going to start taking more and more of a chunk of this offense. And I also think he's going to be utilizing the passing game a lot as well. So I think I go Brees Hall and a half-point PPR. And then standard, Josh Palmer, McLaurin, or Duvernay. And I think I go McLaurin because I think Keenan Allen returns.
Yeah. Go McLaurin as well. I also saw something with Palmer that his routes run or his snaps dropped pretty dramatically last week. I can't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, but apparently saw a pretty big drop in obviously those would go hand in hand with snaps and routes run, but it was pretty dramatic. So again, TN, really appreciate you. We'll go back. We're going to leave this one linger here on the screens. Go back to Newell's. So some possible trades for Fournette are Fournette for J-Rob plus Ramondre. I'd rather have Fournette. Clyde plus Ramondre. I'd rather have Fournette. Jacobs plus Dobbs. I'd rather have Fournette, I think. That one's the closest one so far. Fournette for Kamara straight up. Now, here's the last one I would do. For Kirk. Wait. Fournette and Kirk for Mixon.
Yeah, no, that's too much.
I was thinking that was for the pair.
Like, I think here's my, I think Leonard Fournette's going to be fine, but I also think that he is going to lose some opportunities. And the part that worries me is the passing game work. Because, like, last year we could say the same thing. Like, Ronald Jones definitely mixed in and definitely saw opportunities in the backfield, right? And so, like, he wasn't, like, necessarily the man. But I also don't think that he's going to, because, like, the 3 weeks prior, he saw 77%, 85%, and 86%. And then last week, he only saw 61%. Now his everything, but he did see 7 targets in that game, and he's 7 receptions, 54 yards, and a score. He's coming off 18.4, which is probably his best start, right? Which actually is the most fantasy points he scored. So I do think that he's actually a pretty decent sell. But what I would wait for is, because I think that they smashed the Falcons, and I think you could see a really big game from him, and then I think it just drives his value up even more. I don't mind selling him. I don't, because the Buccaneers offensive line is in shambles. And I actually, I think they said that Leonard Fournette actually went to the coaching staff and asked for the other guys to get involved. And so he can last the whole season. And so I think you are going to see more of a reduction in opportunity. So I don't mind selling him, but I don't love any of the options you have. And he's kind of has this weird value right now, even though he's coming off a decent game. I think if he really comes out and smashes again this week, then I think you could really be swinging for the fences for a much higher package than what you just got.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Truth Teller with a sneaky play here. Picked up Melvin Gordon because my opponent needed an RB. Got him before he did. Is he worth keeping for the rest of the year? I need to drop one guy to get a kicker. Got Herbert and Gordon on the bench. That's just tough because, I mean, this week you're obviously playing Herbert over Gordon. But once Monty comes back, I think Gordon is worth keeping. Truth, let us know if you have any other options that we could potentially drop. I'm not dropping Herbert. It's like, or I'm just going without a kicker this week.
I would rather just do that. Just not go with the kicker.
Yeah. As long as your league doesn't like penalize you and they don't consider that an incomplete lineup or anything like that, and you're not going to get an automatic loss, I would just go without the kicker.
That, or I would go to whoever had Javonte if you didn't have him, and then try to flip him Melvin Gordon over to that guy.
Yeah, or to the person you're playing. See if you can get something done. So basically what Truth is saying is, so Herbert for this week if Monty is out, or Gordon for the rest of the season. Both, yes.
Yeah, both.
Over to Porsche. Lockett, Pollard, or Algier instead of Brees or Wilson in my flex spots. No, I'm gonna keep Brees and Wilson there.
Is that Garrett Wilson? I'd assume. Or was that Jeff?
Said in my flex spots.
Yeah.
So I was assuming it was Jeff.
If it's Jeff Wilson, I'm fine. If it's Garrett Wilson, I would go Tyler Lockett.
Yeah. Pada. Trade away Miles Sanders and Dobbs for Brees Hall in a PPR. I went Sanders over Brees Hall, so I would not do that YP.
Yeah, you're giving up. I mean, and then you're throwing in Dobbs as well, who I really like Dobbs. So no, I wouldn't do that. I love Brees Hall, but I think you're giving up a little bit too much there for Brees.
In Vincent's 10-man standard, it says the weakest to my roster is QB. I have sorry, I have Stafford and Tua. Who should I look to add and who should I drop?
Honestly, I think Tua could be out for a really long time. There's a lot of eyes on with the way that they was mishandled and he was misused, and
Yeah.
and that was a really bad concussion. Like it wouldn't surprise me if he was out for like 4 or 5, 6 weeks. Like it could be very long term that he's out. And so, I mean, the fact that they ruled him out already, I mean, it was what, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday, and they
Yeah.
automatically ruled him out. Like he's going to be out for a while. And so, if you're going to drop somebody, you just drop Tua. Now, don't get me wrong, Matt Stafford has been dreadful. I mean, Baker Mayfield has been better than Matt Stafford, and that is saying something. Like Baker Mayfield has more fantasy points right now than
Stop
Stafford.
it.
But the problem is that Stafford is eventually going to turn it around. Like this offense can't be this bad for this long. And it's looked bad. Like everybody wants to blame Allen Robinson and say Allen Robinson's been terrible. Just the entire offense has been like
Yeah.
it is
Does not
literal
look good.
first read, throw it straight to Kirk Cousins. And the way they're using Allen Robinson, it's everything go routes. They're just, and then they get down to the red zone and they do some fade routes and stuff like that with Allen Robinson. Like I don't know what's wrong with this offense right now, but there's a lot. The offensive line is dreadful too. Like there's a lot of issues here with Stafford, so I don't feel comfortable with Stafford. But if I'm going to drop somebody, it's going to be Tua because I don't know when he's going to be back.
Yeah, Vincent, if you're rocking with us, let us know what waiver options you have. I mean, in a 10-man, you should have some decent options out there. But yeah, I mean, if you're dropping anyone, it's Tua. The Joker, Devin Duvernay or Corey Davis for a bench stash rest of season full PPR. It's going to be Davis. I mean, with Duvernay, he's scoring touchdowns, but he's getting like 3 to 4 targets per game. I mean, Rashad Bateman is hard enough to trust, let alone somebody like Duvernay. So it's going to be Corey Davis. KD, Kyle Dompkowski, Samuel or Lazard at the flex.
I'm going to go Curtis Samuel.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Lazard, but I don't mind either as a flex option. I just slightly lean Lazard. I think Samuel might be the safer options somehow, but I like Lazard here. Another one here for Yak Benji's over on Twitch. I think we got that one. Never mind. Another one here for Anime.
I don't think we answered that, did we? I don't think did we answer his?
Wilson
It's Jeff
Edmonds.
Wilson, right?
Yeah.
If we didn't answer it, it was Jeff Wilson. I wasn't 100% sure if we did or not.
Yeah, I think we answered that earlier. Who do I start to flex? Currently have Kirk, benches Curtis Samuel, Pickens, Keenan Allen, Jeff Wilson, Melvin Gordon, and Jamal Williams. Woo. Man.
Well, I mean, if you're not starting Jamal Williams, it's Jamal Williams.
Yeah. Jamal Williams over Kirk.
Yeah.
Sideline star, how do we feel about Chase Edmonds rest of season? I mean, with most of really taking over the snaps, especially over the past 3 weeks, it's not great, but most of it
we keep seeing like a trend down for Chase Edmonds. He started at 63% of the snaps, then it went from 40 to 49%, 43%, and then 26% last week. And his routes have actually dropped off. He started at 16 and 21, and then 9 against Buffalo and 10 against Cincinnati. So I don't mind him. I think he's fine as like a RB4, I think. Low end RB3 or high end RB4. But let's be honest, is Raheem Mostert going to stay healthy all year? Probably not. And so
that's the thing.
And so if something happens to him, I mean, Chase Edmonds is going to be the guy. So I wouldn't want to drop him or anything like that.
Emmanuel rocking with us. Good morning to you over there. 4-0 and Yahoo need RB2 and a flex. We're looking at Connor, Stevenson, Dobbins, Singletary. So I guess we just need 2 here, and they're all going to be running backs.
Yeah, I would go Connor and Dobbins.
And I'm going to go Singletary over Dobbins. I thought Dobbins looked pretty good last week, though, especially for how long we waited for that. Sanders, Hall, or Stevenson. We need to start one in a PPR here for sideline star.
Miles Sanders.
Sorry, scroll down, lost some space. Yeah, Miles Sanders. Sorry. Miles Sanders, Jacobs, or J.K. Dobbins rest of season in a standard for Travis.
I'm going to go Sanders, J.K., and Jacobs.
Yeah, I agree. Thought about Dobbins at 1, but hard to put him over Sanders, and still coming off that injury. Like, so even though he looked good, that's still going to be there. Herbert or Najee for Maria. That's going to be Herbert for me.
Yeah, sadness where we're at, but yeah, I would go Herbert over Najee Harris.
Richett 612 trade Hurts, Devonta Smith, and Najee for Carr, Kamara, Ingram, and D-Hop.
No.
I'm keeping the Hurts side there.
Yeah. I mean, he's been such a cheat code. And I actually think that there's room for improvement for Jalen Hurts, even as good as he's been. Because I think
he's been hit and miss as a passer.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 25.8 fantasy points per game, which is elite, but he only has 4 passing touchdowns in the year. That is going to correct with the amount of opportunities that are going to be there. Like, I think that you see that correct a little bit too. So for being 5th in passing yards, like I definitely think you can expect that passing touchdown number to go up. It's only going to make him even better than what he's been. So yeah, and he's averaging 13.3 carries per game. Like, I'm not trading Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Reborn. Wide receiver 3 is thin this week. A-Rob, Isaiah McKenzie, Zay Jones, Claypool out of the LOL, or Gallup. I like Zay Jones out of that group.
I'm going to go Michael Gallup.
I don't mind Gallup either. It's good to see how he played in his first game back as well. Another one here from Revorg. Any backs in KC not named CEH worth a hold? Can't seem to justify a spot with all the RB chaos. I mean, I think Revorg, it depends on who you'd be dropping, but if you have the space, I definitely want to stash Pacheco.
100%. He looks really, really good. I actually think he looks better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but if anything happens to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he is 100% going to be the guy who's going to get the opportunities. Jerick McKinnon's role won't change. He'll continue doing what he's been doing. And so he would directly step right into that and probably see even more opportunities. He would see goal line work. He would see, the carries and all that stuff. So I think it's only a matter of time. I think there's going to be a point in this year where Isaiah Pacheco is the number 1 waiver ad. And so if I can add Isaiah Pacheco, I'm good. I want him on my bench.
For sure. Big BS, Smith, Ayuk, Mostert. Choose one playing Hurts at QB. So are we pairing Hurts with Devonta, Ron Ayuk, or Mostert?
Yeah, let's do the Philly stack.
The old stack attack. I could really go for a Philly cheesesteak right now. Just a random, random little tidbit there. Abito despair. How do we feel about Deontay Johnson moving forward? Well, it certainly can't get worse, right? Like the Steelers, for as much as I talk shit and hate on them, I don't think they would have put Pickett in there, even with as bad as Trubisky was playing. I don't think they would have put Pickett in if they didn't think that he was at least like semi ready. Like the Steelers aren't just going to yank Trubisky for the sake of doing it. So that tells me they at least have a little bit of confidence in Pickett. And with his, with that defense has obviously taken a step back this year. They're still going to be throwing. I mean, do maybe the targets get redistributed a little bit? Possibly, depending on who Pickett really likes and who he doesn't. Obviously, we saw Pickens, really pop off last week. Is that sustainable going forward? I don't know. I don't think so. But Deontay Johnson's still going to be a big part of that offense. So I think he's going to be fine. And like I said, it certainly can't get any worse.
Yeah, I agree. I think last week was just like a 1 week deal. They're not gonna go to all of a sudden where Deontay Johnson seeing 3 or 4 targets a week. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he'll be fine. So and I will say I saw I can't remember who it was doing some play breakdowns between Trubisky and Kenny Pickett and the short opportunities that he saw last week, and he actually had a few really nice throws in that game. So we'll see how Kenny Pickett progresses this year, but it could actually be an upgrade.
It's not going to be a downgrade. That's for sure. CB, hey guys, I need one wide receiver, one flex, and a PPR. So wide receiver, we have Curtis Samuel, London, and CeeDee Lamb. So obviously we're locking in CeeDee Lamb. And then we need a flex out of those names, plus Stevenson, Dobbins, Pierce, and Connor.
Damian Pierce.
Damian Pierce as well. Travis, appreciate you rocking with us. Week 5, tough sledding. Not a fantastic week. It's not a lot of. It's kind of like a gross week in general for like in terms of just like games and matchups. It's really only like 3 or 4 games like I'm super excited about. And unfortunately, one is Sunday night and one is Monday night. So gonna be waiting on some of those. Anime, back to you. Pick one: Jacobs, Edmonds, Dobbins, and Damian Harris.
I'm gonna go Damian Harris. Or nope, I'm gonna go Dobbins. Sorry.
Okay.
Actually, I mean, I don't mind Damian Harris. I have Damian Harris ranked ahead of Josh Jacobs and Edmonds. I have Damian Harris at 21, 22 this week. It's just a really good matchup against the Lions. The Lions are not very good against the run at all. So, and I mean, Damian Harris hasn't been great, but I think he scored a touchdown in each of the last 3 weeks. So he's really touchdown dependent. But this just feels like a spot where he could do that because right now, yeah, each of the last 3 weeks. I mean, he's seen 15, 11, and 18 carries each of the last 3 weeks, but he scored a touchdown, which has really helped him, which has made him viable because he scored 16.7, 12.6, and 15.4. So I like him. This is a really good matchup, but I'm going to play J.K. Dobbins.
I like Jacobs here.
See, I don't. The Chiefs have been really good against the run this year, and so I think as well as that the Chiefs have absolutely annihilated the Raiders like the last 6 times they've played them or something like that. And so this is a Monday night game. It's in Kansas City. And so like I feel like he can get game scripted out here. If the Chiefs just go off against them, it's going to be tough because the Chiefs are 5th in rush DVOA on the year. They've done a pretty good job at stopping the run and containing the run. And if they get out to a lead, it's going to really make him game script dependent. I still think he's like a back end RB2, but I just prefer the other guys a little bit more.
Just trying to see what happened because the Chiefs are giving up the 6th most half PPR points.
It's all, and if you look, it is actually mostly off of receptions because they've only allowed like 200 rushing yards on the year. They've allowed the fewest rushing yards on the year, only 209 rushing yards, only 2 touchdowns. It's come through the air with 40 receptions.
Yeah,
because they've allowed the most receptions, and it's really not even close. The next closest is the Ravens at 29.
All right. You got me. You got me. Switch Dobbins there. New Life. Good to see New Life in here. Gabe Davis, boom or bust. Your thoughts?
Yep.
Yep. Agreed.
he's very boomer bust. Like he had that
Well, week one, he didn't really boom. It was a decent game. I think it was what, like
4 for 88 in
50.
a score. But
Yeah.
weeks 3 and 4, he hasn't really done anything. He's just been out there running around, really, because he saw 6 targets in week 3 and then 3 last week against Baltimore. So he's been really bad each for the last 2 weeks. So yes, I would say he's very boomer bust.
Yeah.
But he's also been dealing with an ankle injury as well.
And I think today he got in a full practice, which we said, don't overreact. But if guys are getting in a full practice, like they're getting in a full practice. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to overreact to there. So that's at least a step in the right direction for him, or it makes you feel a little bit better about him. So I think depending on your options, I mean, he could be a sit. New Life, let us know who else you potentially have there. And then Trevor Lawrence is streamed this week. Yep, absolutely. And Travis, good call on Gregory being out as a big loss to Denver. Good call on that. Thielen or Gabe Davis in the flex. Speaking of boomer bust,
I would go Gabe Davis here at this one.
I would go Gabe as well. Gets 12-man 0.75 PPR. 2 running backs, 3 wide receiver league. Should I do Bateman, AJ Brown for Chubb or Godwin and London? Wait. Okay, hold on. Should I do Bateman, AJ Brown for Chubb or Godwin and London for Chubb? My team is Zach Wilson, Saquon, Monty, Cup, AJ Brown, Godwin, Schultz, Conklin. Benches Myers, Dawson, Bateman, McKissick.
Does that say Z Wilson, like Zach Wilson is your starting quarterback?
That's what it's looking like. That's what it's looking like.
Because I think we're focusing on the wrong thing here, Gits. I think we need a quarterback upgrade if it's Zach Wilson.
I can't imagine it's Zach Wilson. There's no way in a 12-man that Gits couldn't have done better. Either way.
Maybe he's a Jets fan.
Maybe.
But hey, I'm not doing that. Like I like Chubb a lot, but Chubb's not going to be the RB1 all year. Okay, he has been just the better running back. Because listen, the running back position has been a dumpster fire. It's something we've kind of talked about so far this year, and it's really just been really, really bad. A lot of the like elite guys that we thought that everybody drafted really high was going to be great, and really none of them have. Like it's going to revert a little bit, and so like I'm not giving up all that for Chubb. Like I'm not giving up AJ Brown and Rashad Bateman for Nick Chubb, and I'm not giving up like Godwin in London. I mean, I guess, but like I still don't really want to do that because Nick Chubb when Deshaun Watson comes back, like something we talked about early on in the offseason was about how Deshaun Watson is going to probably take away from Nick Chubb because of they're going to throw the ball more, and Deshaun Watson is a mobile quarterback. Deshaun Watson is good on the goal line. We've seen it his last few healthy years or years that, before all this drama and everything that happened with him happened. He saw a lot of opportunities in Houston there as well. So he's going to hurt Nick Chubb. So once he comes back, which obviously we still have a while for that. We have to get to week 12, I think, or 13, depending on when their bye week is. But when it happens, it's still going to be a problem. So I think you're giving up too much for Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb still doesn't catch passes. He's been lucky in some of the not lucky, but he scored touchdowns, stuff like that. But he's just kind of been somebody that has done a lot better than the rest of everybody else that just really hasn't done anything yet. So I'm not overpaying to get Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I don't mind moving on from Bateman or London, but I don't know that I want to give up AJ Brown and Godwin because you have Saquon who's been crushing. Monty when he comes back is a fine RB2. So if you can trade away like I said Bateman or London, probably have to be London probably carries a little bit more value at this point. But having Cup, AJ Brown, and Godwin in a 3 wide receiver league is really strong. So I don't know if I'd want to break up that strength just to solidify your, I mean, obviously Chubb is playing as an RB1, but he's your, your quote unquote RB2 on this team. So, you have Dotson, Myers, Ken Walker on the bench. Like I said, I would look at, Bateman or London, see if you can do something for that. Make a smaller trade and try and keep that wide receiver core intact. 661, Carr versus KC or Wilson versus the Colts. I'm gonna go Carr.
I'm gonna go Russ.
Obito, could we rate the roster? Hurts, Hall, JK, Adams, Deontay, Kelsey, Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Pollard, Rashad White, Myers, Gibson, and B-Rob. I like that a lot. Especially with going Kelsey early.
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I think he did well. Running back is a little shaky, but I think you have some nice depth with Pollard and Rashad White on the bench, and then looks like Antonio Gibson as well. So, like, I think you have some depth there for sure. And then wide receivers is pretty solid as well. So I think it's a really, really good team.
Crystal, we have a trade in a full PPR league. I get Jamar Chase. They get Godwin and Herbert. Is that a good trade? I like it. I think if we're talking that if Herbert were, I mean, if Monty were going to be out, the entire season, I might, I might pump the brakes on that a little bit. But once Monty comes back, Herbert goes back to being, in a committee at best. I think that's a nice buy low on Chase.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have – that's not even fair. If you can start 3 wide receivers, you're going to be able to start Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And then having Christian Kirk chilling there too. I think your next move is going to have to be to do something at running back.
Yeah, so I don't mind like trading Khalil Herbert or Jamal Williams for that matter. Really, Jamal Williams would probably be the more sexier name, especially because he's like 4th in fantasy points per game right now. I mean, he's crushed. And so, like I said, once DeAndre Swift comes back, like there's going to be some changes there, and that he's going to fall back down. And so, like moving Jamal Williams right now would probably be a smart move, and you could probably get a pretty decent haul for him for what he's done.
Yeah. Am I starting Hines on Thursday Night Football or Gabe Davis? This one for Harrison.
I'm going to go Naheem Hines here.
Yeah, I think that's the call as well. Truth Teller, Pitts, Deontay Johnson, James Conner, or CPAT.
I mean, one, I see that I was going to put CPAT on IR, but Dak ain't coming back this week, so CPAT dropped. Like, I don't think you have to drop him. I think you would hold him because I think Dak, there's a pretty decent shot that he's getting closer to return. But with the way Cooper Rush is out here balling, like if I was Dak, I'd be like, man, I need to hurry up and get back out here for Cooper Rush just takes my job. But I would go James Conner here. And I would just hold CPAT until Dak comes back, and then you can swap
him. Garrett Wilson or Gabe Davis in the flex?
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis. For show. Crip, fellas, what's up? What's up, Crip? What's up, C Crip? Should I start Devonta or Thielen in a full PPR?
Devonta.
Devonta for sure. If MT sits, would you play Thielen or stream Corey Davis or Jacoby Myers instead?
I would stream Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I'll go Jacoby there as well. Miles Reed Morgan. Start 2. Pittman Dobbs, Cooks, Cooper.
Pittman and Romeo Dobbs.
I'm going to go Pittman and Cooks. Appreciate the kind words, infamous Mel. Yes, we will stay here the entire time to answer all of the questions. It's what we do. It's what we're here for. Hines, Dylan, Hunt, Wilson, Wandell, Zay, pick 2. It's going to be the first 2 for me.
I'm going to go Hines and Hunt.
Hunt will be my third there. And Wandell returned to practice today, but we'll have to see how they handle him. I mean, they could definitely use him. I think we got this one right. The one we just answered.
Yeah.
Now Samuel is thrown into the mix.
It's still the first 2 for me.
Do you drop Wilson for Zay Jones or Josh Reynolds?
No, because Josh Reynolds is a 1 week thing, right? So once, like I said, after the bye, your Amon-Ra will be back, and then you're also going to get Jameson Williams, their first round, one of their first round picks, will be back and into the mix, which is going to move Josh Reynolds probably down to like wide receiver 4. Because you're still going to have DJ Chark, and then Jameson Williams probably steps into that role. So
I would consider it for Zay, just because, like we already saw with what happened last week. They're going to try and be much more balanced with Zach Wilson versus Flacco. Like I think
which is just wild to me that they're, hey, we can sling that rock 50 times a game with Joe Flacco, but can't do it with Zach Wilson.
No. Like I think they still ran like around the same amount of plays they had been running with Flacco there, but they were just much more balanced. So I think you could. I mean, depending on if this is like if you're starting Garrett Wilson almost every week, I'd rather have Zay Jones because I'd rather start Zay Jones for the most part. But if this is just like a bench stash kind of thing, like I don't think you necessarily have to. The random half Korean. Who do I trade for? Godwin. Ton of RBs. The Godwin owner is thin at RB. Herbert, Madison, Akers, Singletary, Gordon, and Algier.
I think you could probably maybe like Melvin Gordon and like a Khalil Herbert, or a Melvin Gordon and Algier might get it done with Javonte.
Yeah, I mean, if I could do it for that for sure. But I think if you're looking for RB help, they're probably going to want Singletary. That's the name that stands out to me out of that group. So if it were like Singletary and another name, are you still doing that?
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to include Singletary there, random half. This is still going to be Gabe for us, anime. Amon-Ra, Boyd, Judy, and Evans. Okay. So that in the trade for Godwin.
I don't think he needs a wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think so. And if these are your starting RBs, like if you don't have like a
I'm
RB1
guessing that's
ahead
his
of
bench because he said I have a ton of running backs, so maybe that's
yeah,
his bench. I can't imagine these are the guys he's running out starting every week.
right, right. Yeah, I mean if these are all bench guys, I mean I don't really care who you get rid of honestly. Um, and then with having Godwin and Evans, I don't know. That's not unless you're going to make another trade after this to send Evans away, but then you're left at the same spot, right? Like I don't know. That just I mean obviously playing both those guys in DFS is one thing, but clicking that start button next to them weekly in your regular lineups, not something not something I would be running out there to do. Rumphy, open spot, have two defenses. Do I drop one? Some members carrying two. So slim, waivers are slim. Also, do I drop Tua? Have Kyler, waiver also slim. These are the pickups. Renfro, Robinson, Walker, Pickens, Duvernay, Rashad White, Gallup, Tony, Pierce, and Wandell. So yes, we're definitely dropping a defense.
RJ, your waivers aren't thin. That's like super stacked. Like to have those options out there.
Yeah, still just sitting there after waivers ran. So yeah, we're gonna drop the Jags and just rock with the Saints. Gonna pick up. What's the name that stands out to you most here, Kev?
I would probably look to drop Tua and the defense, and I would pick up. I think George Pickens. I don't know. It's tough because I really like. I don't know. There's a lot of options here. Like I
I'm
would probably
gonna
look at it like Pickens and Rashad White.
I would
But
go White and Gallup.
yeah, I mean, because I like Gallup a lot too. But then with the running backs, like I can make a case for Kenneth Walker, especially if anything happened to Rashad Penny. He would step right into being that guy. You know, so I think he would be in the mix as well. I like Alec Pierce. I think he's starting to be the number 2 wide receiver there. There's Tony's another guy. Like there's a lot of options here. But I would probably prefer Pickens and Rashad White.
And I would go White and Gallup. That's what RJ was saying. Slim for
Oh
defensive
yeah, okay,
QBs.
yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that, RJ. Honestly, I mean the
No, especially once
weeks.
bye weeks start.
Yeah,
Because as soon as bye weeks start, that's when, like, usually that's when you really find out who has, like, really the decent teams. Because the people that don't have any depth are the teams that start to really get hurt. Because once bye weeks start, that's when you see a lot of movement. People having to drop all these guys. People having to add and pick up another defense or quarterback every week. But then you also start to see a lot of these guys get dropped who they need other spots too. So, um, yeah, you can expect there'd be a lot of movement there. So I think it'll be all right.
so continuing from random half, this is the entire roster. So we got Boyd, Judy, Samuel, Eckler, Herbert, Andrews, Evans. Bench is a lot of names we saw. So looking to make that move for Godwin. So obviously we have Eckler at RB1. Singletary at RB2. You have Amon-Ra. Yeah, I don't think it's completely necessary to make that move for Godwin, given some of the names that you have here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to, like I said, I think maybe offering a Singletary and Algier or something like
Oh
that. I
yeah,
think, yeah,
yeah. I mean, I would definitely start with Herbert, MG3, Herbert, Algier to see if you can snag that. But if you have to bump up to Singletary, I don't mind that at all. Bronson, my league is a 2 of everything except defensive kicker. Allen, Burrow, Zeke, Melvin, Jacobs, Kamara, Sutton, DK, Lazard, Thielen, Jacoby, Duvernay, and Claypool. Pitts and Higbee at tight end, and Waller. Saints, Carlson. Is there any moves I could do? Kind of want to get rid of Pitts and get maybe Terry McLaurin or Michael Thomas. Maybe move Zeke and Melvin Gordon, or just one of them.
I mean, you definitely need help at running back. There's no denying that, I think. At least there's not a lot of ceiling there outside of Kamara.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing we talk about, like with Zeke. Like it's hard. He's hard to trade because he's been pretty much terrible so far this season, and so like you'd have to package him with something if you're going to make any move. Which I guess he said Zeke and Melvin Gordon.
I mean, also bravo to you for having Allen and Burrow. That's nice. Man, as I'm looking at this, I think you're just gonna. Obviously, RB is a spot that stands out, but I think you're just gonna end up making a hole. Because then I was looking at like, all right, like, can you maybe sell high on somebody like DK, but then you're looking at Sutton and then dropping all the way down to somebody like Lazard, Thielen, Jacoby, right? I mean, if you're starting 2 tight ends, maybe you could package Zeke and Higbee, kind of do something like that. Like like we talked about earlier, the issue for moving on from Pitts is that he's not going to carry that trade value. Like you're not going to get anything near what you drafted him at. And I wouldn't be at this point of the season be willing to just like eat that sunk cost, right? So I'd be looking at, like I said, like somebody like if you could do like Higbee, one of those other tight ends that might have a little bit more value right now, and kind of just hold on to Pitts and hope for the best. Going after another wide receiver, I think you're sitting there with Sutton and DK, and that's fine. I would look at, like I said, one of those tight ends and maybe one of those one of your running backs, Zeke. Maybe sell high on Josh Jacobs. Do something like that and try and improve there. Just happened. That was weird. Ten-team league traded Jeff Wilson and Gabe Davis for DK and Zeke.
Which I don't mind that. Like I don't think that's a bad move.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just, I mean, I could go on the whole. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum so far this year, and I have talked about it. But Zeke just doesn't have much of a ceiling, and I'm not going to go into all that because I could talk about that forever.
Yes.
But so I don't mind. I don't mind. I think he did well in that trade, and I think it's fine. And I don't think your team is bad. It's just there's not a lot of ceiling there when you look at the running back position, right? Outside of Kamara, and even Kamara hasn't played great either. I mean, Kamara's been really bad in the 2 games that he's played in. But Melvin Gordon, I think he has a little bit of a bump because of the Javonte Williams news, obviously. But I think this is still going to be a full-on committee with Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone and Latavius Murray. And then Josh Jacobs, like we've seen this before from Josh Jacobs. He has this really big game, and then all of a sudden everybody's excited about him. And then he kind of goes back to being Josh Jacobs. I still think he'll be fine. But like I said, I think your running backs are fine. It's just if I could try to like buy low on somebody, maybe like a Dalvin Cook or something like that, where I think he'd be a little bit easier to acquire. I think you could go out and do that, and then I would feel a little bit better about the running back position. But overall, I still think it's a really solid team.
Will Hayes was offered JT for St. Brown and Eli Mitchell.
Absolutely.
That woke him up.
Well, staying up till that I was up till 1 a.m. last night, getting all these videos done and everything else. So,
Yeah,
but yes, I would. I want Jonathan Taylor for
for
that.
sure.
And you're stacked at wide receiver, so
Yeah. Jonathan Stewart, let's go. Should I trade Najee Renfro and Collins for Singletary, Gallup, and Thielen?
no.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold Najee there. Ah, I figured there was something we were missing here from Truth. I tried scrolling up quickly and it was buried. So we have to drop one. CPAT, Gordon, Herbert, Pitts. We're not dropping Pitts. We're not dropping Deontay Johnson. We're not
I
dropping
think if
Cole.
you absolutely have to, I know I would probably drop. I would probably drop Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, I would look at your league rules and just see if you can just not have a kicker.
I mean, I would think you should be fine with this, or you try to make a trade, right, and free up a spot. That way, maybe you can improve one. Maybe you can add multiple guys and kind of get a little bit better there. But if I absolutely had to drop somebody, I'd probably just go ahead and just drop Cordell Patterson. He's already
Yeah.
going to be out for 4 weeks. You're looking at week 9, and that's that. It's for him to be available, and so by that point, I think I would just go ahead and drop him.
Appreciate the kind words. Random half. That's the plan at some point. We've been doing well though. We do appreciate all your support for real. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit us with a sub and a like, because that is the plan. And then we don't have to stay up until 1 in the morning editing videos and getting it out for you all. JV, thoughts on Dalton Schultz going forward? Is he a buy low? Practice in full today, so obviously that's a good sign. You just never know how those kind of like injuries are going to affect players. I think he could be a buy low.
I think
I
he
wouldn't mind.
I think he is. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to cost you as much. I think there's starting to people that are going to drop him. We kind of saw a little bit that flash in week 1 of kind of what we expected him to be. He saw 9 targets in that 1 week, played 100% of the snaps. He played 91%, 83% in week 4. But yes, I think as things get going, as they get Michael Gallup more involved, I think this offense opens up a little bit more, only progresses. But then once Dak comes back as well. So yeah, I think he's a buy low.
and then we need 2 of Terry, DJ Moore, Dobbs, Godwin, and Eli Moore in half PPR, and that's going to be Godwin and Terry for me, and I'm assuming Godwin and Dobbs for you, Kev.
Yes, correct.
JT is out. I have to start Henderson over Rashad White or Pacheco, right?
I think I would go Rashad White.
Can we pick up Mike Boone? Man, it's just so hard to trust anything outside of Cooper Cup.
Yeah, I don't mean I think Henderson. I mean, if you want to go Henderson, that's fine. We can't start Isaiah Pacheco yet. He's just not getting enough opportunities for that. So I do like Rashad White, and like I said, I think he's going to mix in. I think he's going to get pass catching work.
I think I'm going to go Henderson. I'd want to see it for one more week out of Rashad White. Jose, half PPR 8-man, start sit. So sorry, I was trying to see if you have another quarterback. Does not look like it. Then we got Henry, J. Rob, Hill, Godwin, Pitts, Sutton, McPherson, Tampa's D. On the bench, we got Jacobs, Najee, Rashad White, Ramondre Stevenson, Ayuk, and Devonta Smith.
I think I leave it.
Leaving it. Corduroys. Should I do Waddle and Najee for Wilson, Thomas, Godwin, and Dobbins? So Waddle and Najee for Godwin, J.K., Michael Thomas, and Garrett Wilson.
I'm going to say no. It is really close, though.
Do you have Godwin or Waddle higher rest of the season?
Waddle.
Okay.
But it is close between both of them. I think both of them are really solid options.
I guess this could also depend on if you need the depth for some reason at wide receiver. I wouldn't mind it. But I think I also agree. I'd rather keep the Waddle and Harris side. Who do I start at flex? Robert Woods, Stevenson, or Hunt? Kev, you talked about Robert Woods on the receiver show. Do you like him over these running backs?
I think I would go Kareem Hunt.
And I would go Stevenson. So
very helpful.
I would go Hunt before I went Robert Woods, if that helps you, Ryan. Non-PPR, Boba traded Jones, Evans, and Juju for Kamara, Chase, and Gage.
I think that's really, really solid. I think he did really well.
I like it. Which RB would you trade and try to pick up? This is my current RB. Mixon, Jamal Williams, Stevenson, Hunt, IR, Patterson, and Eli Mitchell. I mean, if you're going to trade any of those, I'm trying to offload Jamal Williams. And I would really take like any kind of like mid to back end RB2 if I could, try and just sell high on him. Like, you're not going to get an RB1 in return for Jamal Williams just because you have Swift coming back. Stevenson has been solid, but I think he's someone I'd rather like stash and kind of hold there and hope that he takes over Damian Harris the rest of the season. Hunt, there's always a Hunt person in your league, so you could probably dangle Hunt out there on your trade bait as well. So it would be between Williams and Hunt for me. And like I said, I'd really just be looking for like a mid RB2 there. Rank Pierce, Wilson, Dillon, and Melvin this week in a half PPR.
Pierce, Wilson, Melvin, Dillon.
I would have it how you have it, Jacob. I think I'll go Dillon over Melvin. Thing I'm doing is Pitts and Jacoby for Logan Thomas and Michael Thomas or McLaurin. Man, I don't.
I would hold Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I don't. That's not a loss I'm willing to take there. I know, Logan Thomas. We talked about him on the waiver show, streaming show earlier this week. I like him as a streamer, but I don't know if I want to drop. I don't think that going from Jacoby to one of those wide receivers makes up for the potential between Pitts and Logan Thomas. Who should I start? Harris versus the Bills or replace with someone like Wilson?
I'd probably go Harris.
I would go Jeff Wilson. Just found out the punishment of my leagues and definitely need Gurus. You can't tell us you just found what is the punishment? Let us know. Kev. Oh my God. I need to throw up a solo overlay here, Kev. You just pulled a Tom, buddy. Gurus, let us. We need Kev to get a little pick me up here. Let us know what the punishment is. Am I trading Keenan Allen for Miles Sanders and DJ Moore? I mean, I think it depends on if you need running back. Like, I don't know. I just want nothing to do with DJ Moore in that passing offense, to be quite honest. So, Guru, hit us up in the Discord, and we'll help you out there a little bit more. You're gonna try and get out of here before Kev falls asleep.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I gotta
just the 7-second nap.
That's what I get. That's why I keep moving around and trying to do stuff. I'm telling you, I'm running off of like 4 hours of sleep right now, so it's all good. It's all good.
I was just sitting there. I was just like, oh no! I just saw the eye. Just that's why I tried yelling. My son's in the room next to me though. All right, let's get through these and we'll get out of here. Let Kev get to bed at a semi decent time. Terrence Evans, I'm rushing. JT injured, RB2, Aaron Jones, picked up Algier and Rashad White. I also have Etienne Pacheco. Who do I start as my RB2?
I'm gonna go Etienne.
I would go Etienne as well. What range should we rank Elijah Moore going forward? Like a 4 wide receiver 4 range.
Yeah, I think so. It's just such a crowd. It's such a crowded wide receiver room. I mean, you have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. I mean, there's so many different options here. Yeah, so I think it's just tough to try. I mean, it's just tough, and with Zach Wilson looking terrible, it's hard to really trust any of them.
Starting Chubb, Henry, Connor, Hollywood, and full PPR. Need one more wide receiver, one more flex from the following. Dylan Woods, Pierce, Garrett Wilson. If I get him off waivers, we'll be dropping Claypool.
Well, I'm going to go Woods, and I'm going to go Dameon Pierce.
I'm going to go Dylan and Pierce over Woods. Start 3 wide receivers and 1 flex. Judy, Keenan Allen, DK, Devonta Smith, Palmer, and Wilson. Javonte owner. Rough. So 3 wide receivers out of Judy, Allen, DK, Devonta. Palmer, I'm not going anywhere near. If Keenan Allen plays, you're playing him, and then I would go
DK and Smith, Devonta Smith.
Yep. And then in the flex,
I'm gonna go Wilson.
Shelton 1 and 3. I have Kyle Pitts and Gerald Everett. Who should I start this week?
Gerald Everett.
Yeah. If the Sun God is out again, do I play Najee, Curtis Samuel, Dobbs, or Herbert, or Pierce in a full PPR?
Dameon Pierce.
Man, how do you have those options? Najee, Herbert, and Pierce in a flex spot. But yes, it's Pierce. Bench Najee for J-Rob. Thoughts?
I like it. Secret, if you haven't already watched the video, the running back video we did, I talked about James Robinson. I really like James Robinson this week against Houston. Really good matchup. Houston's been really bad against the run this year. So if you haven't, he's one of the first guys I talked about on that video. So I really like James Robinson. I have him as a top 10 running back this week.
Whew. Would have lost by a point. Let's go. Should I trade TJ Hawkinson, Drake London for AJ Brown and replace Hawkinson with Higbee?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. What defense do we like this week? Chargers versus Cleveland. On waivers, there is Miami versus the Jets, Denver versus Colts, Saints versus Seahawks, Tennessee versus Washington. My league does allow no kickers. I would just roll no kicker, then wait for Dak to come back and then put CPAT on IR. But as far as defenses, I think I would See, I didn't do the defense video this week, so I don't have a quick answer. I think I would stick with the Chargers, but the Saints would be my second choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, random half. Kev is in the central time zone, and both of us have families. So unfortunately, the later start is just what is really the only thing that actually works for us. But we do go early live on Sunday mornings for a game day show. If you guys want to join us on there, Kev will be live again tomorrow for DFS, and we have props this weekend as well.
We probably would do a little better if we started a little bit earlier than the 10:30 Eastern. Yeah, it's just
sure, but
I mean, just a little, I guess peel back the curtains a little bit. All the stuff that I'm wearing, I coach my son's 12U baseball team, so we're still in season, so we have a lot of practice and everything else. So usually by the time I get home really quick, I come home, I eat, and then by the time I get done with all that, then I jump on and we jump on here. So season's almost over, so as soon as it is, I think it'd probably be a little bit easier for us to go a little bit sooner. Maybe closer to 9:45, 10 o'clock Eastern than the late time that we do now. So, and it probably would help to get even more viewers.
Yeah, Ertz or Everett this week.
Gerald Everett.
Dez, Julio Jones, Corey Davis, a good pickup from the waiver. Should I start one of them over DJ Moore? I mean, God. I think if Julio goes, I'd rather play Julio.
A little revenge game narrative.
Yeah.
Going against Atlanta. I would still go DJ Moore over both those options, though. And then I would go. I really want to say Tom Brady, but I'm going to go Kyler Murray. I have Kyler Murray one spot ahead of Tom Brady. I have Kyler Murray at 6 and Tom Brady at 7. So,
how do we feel about Brees Hall after losing Devontae? Have no choice but to fully commit to him now. I mean,
there's definitely worse. People are in worse spots. I can assure you of that after losing Javonte. So, I think it was pretty encouraging to see Brees Hall last week. Now we'll see if it continues. But he played 65% of the snaps, 17 carries. Yeah, 6 targets in that game too. So 78 yards and a touchdown. And surprisingly, even though he hasn't really been the man, I mean, he has scored double-digit fantasy points every single week of the year. So he really has been a useful fantasy option, even in the earlier parts of the season where he only played 44% and 27% of the snaps.
Yeah. Henry, Debo for Drake London and Pearson of PPR need a replacement for Javonte. I feel like if you're trading Debo, you can get something better than that. I mean,
I don't mind. I don't mind it. I mean, I think Drake London is good. And then I really like Dameon Pierce. There's no secret to that. I've liked him all off season, and I've liked him through this season. And I mean, if he continues to see the workload that he's seeing, he's probably going to finish the year as James Robinson. Like I feel like he'll be this year's James Robinson. That's kind of what we talked about like before the season started. That's how I felt. So I don't mind doing that. I mean, you need running back, and yeah, you could trade Debo, and maybe there's another option. Maybe you could kind of maybe put some other feelers out there to some other rosters. But you're definitely gonna need a running back, and so if you're solid at wide receiver, then I think you could make that move if you're good. But I also don't want to create another situation, But getting Drake London and Pierce, I think is good too.
I guess I was just thinking like if I'm going to trade Debo, I'd probably just want to swing for like a higher RB1. Like I think I'd rather like you said, unless you need the wide receiver, like I think I'd rather just do like a 1-for-1 kind of deal and just go a little bit higher. I guess is what I was getting at. I don't mind the deal, but yeah. TN, you rock, buddy. Any changes we would make here for RJ's squad? Obviously, Tua doesn't factor into this. JT doesn't factor in. I guess just in total.
I think it's the one he asked us earlier, right, about dropping Tua and
Oh, yeah.
the defense. So it's kind of the same team.
Yeah.
But now you kind of see everybody he has. I mean, I would drop, like we talked about, Tua and
Jags.
Jack's defense if you want.
Beyond
But
that,
the
I
rest
think
of it,
it's,
I think is
yeah,
solid. I mean, having JT and Saquon,
Saquon and Pierce.
yeah, and Pierce, I mean, that is a nice problem to have. Elijah Mitchell will eventually come back at some point later in the year. And then at wide receiver, Lamb has really taken off for the last couple of weeks. Hollywood. I mean, I think you're in a really good spot.
Yeah. How good do we think Keenan Allen's going to be rest of the season? Should I look to trade him or Pittman in a full PPR?
I'm not trading Michael Pittman at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade Pittman either. So I just have to wait for Keenan Allen to get back on the field. I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be fine. I mean, we've seen this offense kind of be hit and miss without him. I think he's still Herbert's top target whenever he's healthy. So as long as that hammy is fine, I think he's going to be fine. I wouldn't be in a rush, especially in a full PPR, to trade him. But out of the two, if you are hell bent on trading one of them, it's going to be Keenan. Harris, start one out of Jamal, Najee, Pittman, and Brees. Man, just one.
Yeah, how come we can't start Pittman at wide receiver? But I guess I'm gonna go Jamal Williams.
Yeah, if I had to rank them, it would be Jamal, Pittman.
Brees than Najee for me.
Yeah. Penny or Algier. I mean, if Penny plays, it's gonna be Penny. Like I said, didn't practice today, but it's not the end of the world. Just keep an eye on that. Is Nyheim Hines worth a start? Absolutely. There's still going to be some other running backs that factor in, but he should see the lion's share of the opportunity. Being offered a chance to offload Najee and Curtis Samuel for Dalvin Cook, is that worth it? I would do that. I like that.
Yep.
Hey, truth. No problem. That's what we're here for. If I go no kicker this week, what do I do next week if Dak plays and I put CPAT on IR? Somebody to drop one for a kicker.
Oh yeah, because they just be swapping them.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said. I mean, I think if I have to drop somebody, I don't want to drop Khalil Herbert. And so I would drop Cordero Patterson. I mean, he's going to be out for 4 weeks, no matter what.
I can't remember if you have Monty. All right, yeah. If you have Monty, Truth, but if you don't, I would just look to trade Herbert to whoever has money in your league. After just
Yeah, or
seeing,
just package a couple guys together and
Yeah.
move them that way. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Another trade here from Terry. This is Aaron Jones and Pittman for Dalvin Cook.
Every time I see Terry in here now, I'm always going to think, is that last week where you put it in reverse, Terry?
Last week at like 1:30 in the morning, yeah.
That had me dead. I still think about that. Every time I see Terry now, it's exactly what I'm going to think about. No, I wouldn't do that. I think you're giving up too much.
Yeah, it's bit of an. I don't know if I would do Pittman for Cook straight up, let alone with like that. That would be close, but then adding in Aaron Jones to that, definitely not. Elijah Moore or Drake London this week. Nervous about Falcons' pass game against the Bucs.
I would still go Drake London.
Yeah. How do you feel about starting ETN over Algier, Rashad White, and Pacheco? I think that's the call. I like Algier, but I still think you're going to have Huntley mix in. I still think somebody like Avery Williams is going to mix in as well. At least we're confident in what ETN's role is.
Yeah. I would still go Travis Etienne.
Appreciate you, RJ. Just got Schultz for Noah Brown. He had Pitts as well. Should I start him over Irv?
Yeah.
We're picking up Dak ahead of his return. Rest of my current QB. Depending on who you'd be dropping him for. Is Dak definitely back this week?
I don't think it's anything official.
Okay.
He should be back soon, but I don't think it's anything like, yeah, he's definitely coming back. But I don't think they need to. I mean, with as well as, like I said, as well as Cooper Rush has played, I don't think they need to. I would wait until he's 100%.
Squad is Brady, Saquon, Brees, Debo, Amon-Ra, Hawkinson, Pittman, Drake London. Any ideas how I can upgrade?
I don't think you need to. I mean, Saquon and Brees, obviously, there's a little bit of a, if you wanted to do anything, it probably would be at running back, depending on who you have on your bench. But because you're pretty solid at wide receiver with having Debo, Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Yeah.
Michael Pittman, and Drake London. So, like, if you wanted to flip a Drake London or even a Debo, I guess, if you wanted to do that, I think you could. You can go after varying different people because obviously Debo has a lot more value than Drake London. But even if you like sent Drake London for, I was gonna say Brees Hall, he's already got Brees Hall. Can't do that. Try and think. Like, would you trade Drake London for James Conner? Or Drake London for Miles Sanders? Or Drake London for Aaron Jones? I don't think someone's going to do Aaron Jones for Drake London. You probably would have to throw something else in. Or would you do like a Debo for a Dalvin Cook?
No, I think I want Debo. But I like the squad as is.
Yeah, I don't think you have to make any sort of moves. Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Random Half. Thanks for joining. Jason, should I trade Swift and Dobbins for Jonathan Taylor? I already have Derrick Henry too.
No.
I'm not doing that either. I would keep that. Keep those names there, Jason. Terrence, I'm going to hold on to McPherson for now, but keep an eye out. He did pop up on the injury report today, but as long as he goes, I'm going to keep him. And if he doesn't, you'll be able to stream somebody. And if that does happen, just hit us up, drop a comment on one of our videos, and we'll make sure we help you out there. Nyheim Hines or Godwin?
Godwin.
Appreciate the kind words. Truth. What is up with Kamara? Should I drop him? Him and Kittle disappointing me. You're definitely not dropping Kamara. He's just been inefficient, and up until I think the week before, and he's been injured as well. Obviously, that plays a part in it. Before last week's London game where he sat out, he did see, I think, 7 targets, but he only caught 2 of them. So there's still some underlying numbers there with Kamara that we should like. But definitely do not drop him. You can put him on your trade bait, see if anybody will give you something decent. I don't think it's going to happen at this point. So I think if you really want to move him, you have to wait till he puts up even just like a solid game, and then you can try moving on from there.
If he comes back this week, like, this is the get right spot, right? Because they're playing Seattle. Seattle is terrible against the run, and so like if there is a game to bounce back, like, this is it. Like, this is the game that you want. And honestly, like, if you want to flip him, like, that's what we need. We need Alvin Kamara to have a vintage Alvin Kamara game. He goes out and scores 25 points, and then you can look to flip him, because when he scored 7 and 7 each of the last 2 weeks, while you can still get something for him for sure because it's still Alvin Kamara, he doesn't hold as much value, because that's exactly what most people do. They're going to go look, see what he's done. Oh, he's been terrible so far, and you're not going to get nearly the package what you should get for him. So that's what I would wait for.
Con Jelly, do I trade Saquon, Amon-Ra, and Knox for Cup, Andrews, and Penny? I have Connor and CMC for RBs and nothing else. I'm keeping the Saquon side.
Yeah. I think I keep the Saquon side. Like, honestly, if I was going to do anything, like, maybe you just trade, like CMC. I don't know. 'Cause I don't know what you mean by you have nothing else. Do they list what the rest of the? No, he just says
Mm-mm.
that. So, like, it'd be helpful to know what the rest of your team look like. If you say nothing else, and like I see this, and I say, okay, well, you have CMC and Saquon, which is excellent job, and
Yeah,
then
and
Amon Ra,
trading.
yes, once he comes back, which he should be back shortly. Like I said, if he doesn't play this week, he'll definitely be back week 7, and then you know. So I mean, I don't think this is actually all that bad of a team.
Yeah. Syria 0-4 with Herbie, Najee Cook, Amon-Ra, Jamar Andrews, Aaron Jones, and I have Jacobs, Jamal Williams, TJ Hawkinson on bench. What should I do?
This is a team that's like been incredible. Like if you would have showed me this team when the season started, like before anything
Yeah.
happened, I'd
It
have been like,
was,
man, you crushed it with this
yeah.
team.
I mean, you have two of the bigger disappointments at running back, right? Probably how you started your, and then you have Jamar there too. So
Just been super unlucky. The thing
yeah,
I always tell people though, because I've seen in like a lot of leagues that I played or whatever, or been doing this for a while, and you hear people talk. Once you get to 0-4, a lot of people just quit and give up. Like this, there's no reason I would not be quitting at 0-4 because at this point you're not chasing a 1 seed, right? Like you're just chasing just to make the playoffs. So if you're in a 12-team league and 6 team makes the playoffs, generally speaking, that whoever that 6 team is probably at 2-2 or something like that right now. So you're not that far behind. I would just say you've been incredibly unlucky because this is a really good team. There is no reason when I
I
look at this team to say that you should be 0-4, but I get why because of
yeah,
just the guys that have underperformed. But I think a lot of these dudes are going to bounce back.
I would look to trade Hawkinson coming off the game that he had. You already have Andrews. I'd be putting Hawkinson on my trade block right now. And I think maybe even Jacobs as well, with having Najee Cook and Aaron Jones.
Or
Maybe
Jamal
try and
Williams.
yeah, I mean Jamal Williams as well. See if the Swift owner will want to take on Jamal Williams after seeing what he's done. Even with Swift in the lineup, Williams has been putting up numbers. So that's what I would do to try and see if you can add some other pieces there. But I mean that's just one of those teams, man. That's things that with fantasy football, it is a fickle bitch. Uh, Harris NBA. Kirk or Pittman is my wide receiver 2 behind Chase this week.
I'm going to go Pittman over Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll go Jamal at the flex.
Team is Mixon, JT, Eckler, Debo, Amon-Ra, Sutton, Kelsey, Russ's QB. Any moves? Nope. I mean, Mixon, JT, and Eckler? Nah. Kelsey there too? Gee, Matt, your team stacked. Not doing anything there. Who should I be looking to receive? I offer Jamal Williams for Waddle. I like that. It's
Shoot your
the
shot. I mean, that's
yeah. So yeah, the easiest thing to do is first I would look at the Swift owner since you're sending away Jamal Williams, see if there's anything you can do there. But then go and look at at other teams who might need running back. It's always easiest to find teams and like try and pair together needs there because if you're trying to send Jamal Williams for Waddle and the team already has running backs like Matt does with Mixon, JT, and Eckler, you're not going to get anything done there. But if you go to someone who went with a zero RB approach, maybe you can, especially since Jamal Williams has had some standalone value. So that would be the easiest piece of advice there.
yeah.
And
And
then
I would just say the only thing I would add to that is shameless plug is maybe try to jump into the Discord because it's so much easier like in Discord for people to be able to send like other teams rosters to actually be able to see what people have. And so um it's a little bit harder here instead of making you guys type everything out. So if you jump into the Discord, you can share your roster and then the other team's rosters, then we can be a lot easier to be like, oh, this is what I would do. So, anyways, keep it going.
Yeah, Kev, if you want to grab that next one, I'm going to grab the link right now.
Yeah, my team for that trade with Saquon is Keenan Allen, Mahomes, DeAndre Hopkins, Amon St. Brown, Knox, CMC. I think you said Saquon twice. Patterson, Connor, and the only value I have on my bench is D-Hop and Renfro. I think you're fine, honestly. Like, I mean, let me scroll up here a little bit.
It was Saquon, Amon, and Knox for Cup,
Andrews,
and Penny.
Yeah, I think you're fine. You know, once Amon-Ra's back, I mean, Amon-Ra, Keenan Allen are solid. Then with Saquon, CMC, you can't do much better than that. With Mahomes, like, this is a really good team. So, like, I don't think you need to do anything.
Najee Fournette, Chase Pittman, Andrews on the bench is Kirk, Samuel Olave, Brees, Sutton, and Jamal. Any suggestions?
I guess no flex. My God, this team is like so good. Like, to see here, like, I'm seeing all these names.
Yeah.
How's there no flex? There's no flex, I guess. Because I'm like thinking to myself, like, man, Sutton, Brees, Jamal Williams,
Kirk.
So I would sit Najee and I would start Jamal Williams. And if you're allowed to flex, I would go Christian Kirk. Or no, I would go Cortland Sutton. Sorry.
I think
Good for you.
Yeah.
For you,
I was going to say, I
NBA.
think I like Sutton over Pittman.
Speaking of which, the NBA is about to start. I'm happy to see it. Should be back here. I think it's next week, I believe, depending on what. No, it's the week after, whenever the NBA season starts. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try, like I said before, I'm going to try and make NBA just my, like, view. Just watch. Just be a fan. Not analyzing it. Not going to bet on it. I just want to watch. I need something just to, like, entertain me. How do we feel about adding Alec Pierce on waivers after having Algier, Pacheco, Jahan, Dotson, White, and Reynolds? Probably do Pierce over Reynolds.
Just I would long term. Yes, I would drop Josh Reynolds for Alec Pierce. The rest of that is awesome. I think that is how you build a good bench for sure.
Yeah. Pitts or Conklin this week for Robbie.
If you're 0-4, so once you get to 0-4, you should start treating this like a GPP a little bit more. And we're looking for straight upside. And so I'm going Kyle Pitts, which doesn't seem that way on the surface, but I would go Kyle Pitts.
Pick 2 to start this week: Dylan, Gabe, and Cooks. It's gonna be Dylan and Cooks for me.
I would go Gabe and Brandon Cooks.
Any good bets for TNF? John, I actually haven't looked at any of the player props or anything, so I don't have any. But if you want to join the Discord link that I just dropped in a couple messages ago, we have an entire channel for player props and bets, and we have a bunch of people dropping stuff in there, talking about what books are having boosts and all kind of stuff. So that channel's really started to pick up over the last couple of weeks. It's been a lot of fun. BNEP is this a steal? Harris, Herbert, and Wilson for Cup and Pollard.
Yep.
Nep just coming in here to flex and get some reassurance. You got it. Do I trade ETN for Penny? I have Walker. He has Robinson.
I want the ETN side. Assuming it's PPR.
Really? You want ETN over Penny? You being the Penny guy.
I just think Travis Etienne's long term, I think upside and ceiling is pretty solid. So that's just where I come in with it. I mean, it's tough.
It's half PPR.
But see, then he would have Walker and Rashad Penny. And
Yeah, I
I
don't want to do that. I would just
we don't want handcuffs.
Your own handcuff.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to handcuff.
You're just betting against yourself.
Yeah. Drop Zay Jones for Jameson Williams.
Yes.
Yep, I would do that as well. I'm assuming, there's no other start sits here. Just
No,
yeah.
I mean you're not. I don't see anything there.
Mike Williams, Aaron Jones at flex. I'm gonna go Aaron Jones.
I'm gonna go Mike Williams.
And they get
I know we're not any helpful there, but Cleveland's defense has not been very good. And their secondary has not been very good either. And I don't know if Myles Garrett's going to play with the because I believe so. I think I would go Mike Williams.
Yeah, the Giants' run defense has been dreadful as well.
And on the second part of the question, I think yes. I think that's not a bad idea. Not that Hollywood's not going to have like any value or anything like that, but one, Cliff Kingsbury's an idiot. I just don't know how all this is going to shake out once he comes back. He's definitely going to lose some targets. So yes, I think it would be smart ahead of that happening.
So would you still go Alec Pierce here with the situation that Terrence has laid out, having St. Brown picked up Reynolds?
I guess the question would be: is there any other is this the? I guess did he list like everybody that he could possibly drop? Yeah, he did. Yeah, and that was the best one. That was the best option. Long term, Alec Pierce is the answer, and I think that the one that I would want. And I actually don't think that he's in a bad spot for this week. So I think if you're a team that's in a good spot, like dropping Josh Reynolds is probably not going to be the reason that you lose this week, right? Like ultimately, he won't be the reason that you lose this week. So I would probably just go ahead and just make the move and get Alec Pierce because I think long term, Alec Pierce is the much better play. Because one, Josh Reynolds is on bye next week. I guess there's a chance, but like I'm always nervous that like Alec Pierce goes out tomorrow and goes, 5 for 100 and a score or something like that, and then he's the number one waiver ad next week.
Right. Are you going to pick up Pierce and plug him in? Obviously, in this scenario, then
he has some other options at running back. I know that. When you scroll back up,
well, that'd be
Pacheco, Jahan Dotson, Rashad White, and Josh Reynolds were the options. So I don't think you have to at that point. Because if you absolutely had to, I think
okay, never mind. Nope. I see. I was Olave at the flex, so you're just moving Olave into one of the wide receiver spots.
Yeah,
got it. John, we do not stream every night, but it definitely feels like it. So Wednesday nights we go live. Tomorrow is the DFS show. Saturday is the prop show. Sunday morning is another start sit show. Sunday evening at halftime of the Sunday night football game is the first look at waivers, and then we have rankings drop throughout the week. So not every night, but
almost
feels like it. Panda, Hines, Woods, Cooper. I'm going to go Hines and Cooper. Are you going to go Hines and Woods there, Kev?
No, I would go Amari and Hines. Okay.
Who to start? So Mahomes, CEH, Hall, Jefferson, Godwin, Kittle, Dobbs, Eagles defense. Carlson is the kicker. Bench, obviously, D-Hop doesn't matter. Duvernay, Algier, Boone, Cooks, Myers, Tampa's defense.
So once again, drop Tampa Bay's defense. There's no reason for you to hold on to that.
But in terms of starts here,
yeah, I would leave that. I don't see anything here that I would change. You might change Cooks for Dobbs, but I have Dobbs as top 20 wide receiver. But yeah,
Hines or Gallup at flex. It's going to be Hines.
Yeah.
Hines, Gallup, even if he plays Dobbs, ETN, wide receiver, and flex.
You're not going to have time to make that decision, at least for the Hines part. So I would go Hines there.
But who you throwing in a wide
flex,
receiver?
and then we need a flex. I would go Dobbs.
Jamal Williams for Najee Harris. If you can get Najee for Jamal Williams.
Yeah, I guess.
Even with as bad as Najee's been playing,
yeah, he's gonna have some bounce back weeks, and I just don't think he's gonna be trash all year. But yeah, I think he probably make that move.
Should I trade for Keenan Allen, or is his injury situation bad? Maybe trade Zeke and Pitts for Keenan Allen.
That's too much.
Yeah, not doing that. Other Tigby and Waller. Yeah, that's too much. I don't mind trading for Keenan and buying him low with the injury, but I'm not sending Zeke and Pitts to do that. Last one here, and then Bronson, same thing for you. Jump into the Discord. You can join us over there, and continue to ask some of these questions, and we can give you a better idea. When it comes to especially when it comes to trades. But Everett or Ertz?
Gerald Everett.
Boom. Just like that. Appreciate all you for rocking with us. Hit us with a sub and a like if you have yet to do so. You can also scroll up a few messages and jump into our absolutely free Discord. Like I mentioned, if you're doing DraftKings DFS, that is tomorrow. Kev will be going live with our guy Maddie, and then I'll be live with Tom on Saturday night going over some player props, and we'll be back here with you on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to get you ready for the week. Appreciate you guys.
I was going to say, I just saw this one real quick. I was going to answer it. Who did I pick up? Keenan and Amron are out. I like I said, Alec Pierce, love him. Josh Palmer, if Keenan is out, I would go with Josh Palmer. I think he's a viable option against Cleveland. So I'm surprised he's even available with the last couple of weeks. But if he is, I would go Palmer, and then Alec Pierce would be the two options. But I would start Josh Palmer, which I know you're not going to have time to make that decision because Alec Pierce plays tomorrow. But if you have room, I would like to get Alec Pierce before he goes off because I think he's going to be a decent option. But Josh Palmer would be the guy. And then I guess if you don't have time to make that decision because we're not going to be able to make that, then the other option I think you could probably go with would be Julio Jones, which doesn't feel good, or Duvernay, or a running back. So, yeah.
There you have it. Appreciate you guys. Good luck this week, and we will talk to you all soon.